Professor Ramesh, the chief editor of the Book of Inscriptions. He was unable to make it for the conference because he was suffering from ill health, and he is a leading epigraphist of India. I would now request Professor Amarjeev Lochan to please come and say a few words on the Inscriptions project.
Greetings to all. It's quite unfortunate Dr. Ramesh came from Allahabad a few days back and he fell very sick. He's in Mysore and he couldn't make it. This entire project was conceived by Dr. Shantilal Somaiya while sitting in a hotel, Sunway in Phnom Penh in 2004. Exactly 100 months back. And he dreamt of that, the inscriptions and the vast vestige of Indian culture which is sprung around all Southeast Asia are very much deeply required to be seen, understood and learned not only by us Indians but other country people. And in this regard I remember very fondly that he was very keen to see rereadings of those inscriptions which have been pioneered by earlier French scholars in early 20th century. With these words, what he thought of not only doing in Cambodia, but also entire Southeast Asia. And he developed the entire idea and project. When the words about reinterpretation, re-examination or rereading of those inscriptions came in mind, we did not have any better name than Professor Ramesh, who has been Joint Director General of Archaeological Survey of India and also Epigraphy Director in late 80s of last century. The entire project had gone under his instruction, and the first volume which we have today is a result of hard work, what he has given in spite of his very busy schedule in other projects. This entire project would be covering Indonesia, Cambodia, Sri Lanka, and Vietnam, especially Cham inscriptions. These are the plannings which we are having, and this volume is still not complete. You'll find soon a compendium to this, and you'll find that there are more to be done, especially in Thailand also. And the same thing will be happening in the coming years with the cooperation of scholars from all parts of the world, especially Southeast Asia, because we have a vision to include the local scholarship on the subject. That's why we have scholars involved. The editor which we have today, Dr. Chirpat Prapanvidya from Thailand, he is here in the audience. He has been the mastermind behind this kind of work in Thailand, and I really congratulate him for his own time and contribution to this project, not only this one, but in the coming one. Same is going through with Kangwol, who is from Cambodian background, but he's in Thailand. He's expert on Khmer. So next volume on Khmer and other inscription would be also looking forward to getting the help from local scholars. Because without local scholarship, we cannot have real interpretation of those words. I think India as Sanskritist and Pali knowledge people will be required, but at the same time, we cannot avoid local scholarships. This is the reason this will be a very unique project. It will take a long time, but for sure it will be one of the best program in Sanskrit inscription or Pali inscription in the world. And for all this, I also congratulate Dr. Sankar Narayan. I have hardly seen her sleeping because at 1 o'clock in night she's on Google. 2 o'clock she's on Google. So I don't know when you sleep, and I really congratulate you for hard work. This project would have been not successful if we don't have Samir Bhai's a spontaneous contribution to go ahead with this. And I'm really very grateful to you, sir, for allowing us to continue, and we'll be doing more, better and better under your instruction. With these words, I thank all of you to come and see, and this inscription project would require more feedback from you, and we are open to that, and you can write down to center, we'll have more feedback and then we'll develop more. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amarjeev Lochan. This conference has been jointly organized with the support of the Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan and the Navnalanda Mahavira. So I request Professor Vijay Kumar Jain, who is the head Department of Buddhist Studies, Lucknow, to please come and give a brief introduction about the Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan.
धन्योऽयं भारतो देशः धन्यायं सुरभारती तदुपासका वयं धन्या अहो धन्य परंपरा। मंचे सभागारे च समुपस्थिताः भारती विद्यानुरागिणः. It is my pleasure while I am introducing about my institution. The Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan New Delhi was established as an autonomous organization registered under the Society Registration Act for the development and promotion of Sanskrit all over the country. It is fully funded by Government of India. Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan has now been declared as deemed university. As per Memorandum of Association, the major objective of the Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan are to propagate, develop and encourage Sanskrit learning and research. This also serves as central administrative and coordinating machinery for the management of all campuses. The Government of India has formulated various schemes and programs for the development of Sanskrit education and is implementing these through Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan and other agencies. For fulfillment of its objectives and execution of the scheme, governments, the Sansthan undertake the following activities. Establishment of campuses in different states. One campus is running in this promises Somaiya Sarva Vidya ki Rajdhani also. Conducting the teaching of Sanskrit on traditional lines at secondary, undergraduate, graduate, postgraduate and doctorate level. Inspiring Sanskrit teachers training at graduate, postgraduate level. Coordination of research work in various disciplines of Sanskrit learning. Implementation of the scheme of the Ministry of Human Resource Development for promotion of Sanskrit. Establishing Sanskrit library, manuscripts, collection center and editing as well as publishing the rare manuscripts and books of the importance. Running correspondence course for learning Sanskrit, Pali and Prakrit. Our VC Professor R.V. Tripathi is a great scholar and working with the motto of Udar Charitanam to Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the successfully organized 15th World Conference proved it. Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan has been graded level A by the NAC team. Center of Pali and Prakrit are also running under the Sansthan. The Department of Bauddha Darshan is running since 25 years in Lucknow campus. Teaching courses are continuing from class 11th to Acharya. Research and project work is also taking place efficiently. Pali Center of Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan has accepted a challenge to edit and publish the Pali literature with Sanskrit Chaya and translation. This work is very important to learn word and meaning and linguistics approach. Young scholars who are working in this project will be proved Pandit in this field. The theme of this international conference, cross-cultural transmission of Buddhist text, critical edition, translation and transliteration and translation is very important. Even a single stage, either by scholars or by institution, will be the milestone in the field of the 21st century. Nowadays, students and teachers do easy tasks and avoid hard work like translation and editing. While the talent is not lacking, Indian talent have proved it at an international level. Instead of criticizing others, we, the representatives of institution, may choose one task or assignment of the different field. Only then we can achieve the goal. Ko nuhaso kimanando nityam pajjalito shati andhikare o nadha padipam kim na gaveshatha. Arthat, how is their laughter, how is their joy? As the world is always burning, we are surrounded by the darkness. Why so you not seeking a light? Yujikas tatra dolavaha. By the organization of this conference, hope that we will be enlightened. I wish a great success for the seminar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I request Dr. Ravindra Pant to give us a brief introduction about Nalanda Mahavihar.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Venerable Bhikkhu Sangha, Venerable Frama Sabun Pan, Professor Wangchuk, Sri Samir ji, Sri Ranganathan ji, Vijay Kumar Jain, Dr. Subhada Joshi, and Dr. Shankar Narayan, erudite scholars, guests, ladies and gentlemen, and Dhamma friends. It is indeed a moment of joy to be here at the 7th Biennial International Conference on Cross-Cultural Transmission of Buddhist Texts, Critical Edition, Transliteration and Translation. Friends, during these 7 biennial conferences, we have really progressed ahead. Navanalanda Mahavihar has been associated since the beginning, and now as we pass through each of the biennial conference in these 14 years, we have started coming to the area which is more focused and for the conservation and preservation of Buddha Vachana. Friends, as you all know, from the time of King Ashoka, Buddhism spread throughout Asia in a long process of transmission that lasted over 1,000 years. Southeast Asian nations have preserved the teaching in Pali, the language in which they were received the transmission. However, the Chinese and the Tibetan canons preserved texts translated from Sanskrit. As Buddhism disappeared from the country of its origin, most of these texts are lost to us today. These canonical materials are of great interest to academicians as they record the development of Buddhist philosophy and reflect the spirited environment in which the Indian religious thinkers debated their respective traditions. In modern exercise to translate these materials into English and other languages, knowledge of Sanskrit and Pali, Prakrit, grammar, as well as Pali is critical to compare and annotate the material under study. This conference is a gathering of scholars engaged in such exercises, which are very focused, highly specialized, and demanding. Their works provides us with important materials through which we can review and reconstruct our own history and improve our understanding of the process of transmission of Buddhism in Asia, which is truly one of the most remarkable chapters in human history. I'm sure in the coming days we'll do a lot of churning and a lot of things would come out in the conference, and the conference would be a big success. Coming to my institution, we have been associated with Buddhist Studies Center, Somaya's Buddhist Studies Centers since the beginning. When I joined the Navanalanda Mahavihara in 2000, although the institute was established in 1951 by the first President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, our institute had the privilege to publish the entire Pali canon in Devanagari script for the first time in India. In the 80s, the institute became an autonomous center, and in 94, the institute was taken over by Government of India, Ministry of Culture. In 2006, the Navanalanda Mahavihara became the deemed university, and as such, at present, we have 7 departments. We offer a graduate course in Pali and postgraduate courses in Pali, Sanskrit, philosophy, Tibetan, Buddhist studies, Chinese, ancient Indian history and culture, and also the PhD courses in these subjects. At present, we have about 500 students and 120 foreign students from Southeast Asian countries. Our university is having two very important projects from the academic point of view. One is the publication of Pali-Hindi dictionary. 3 volumes of these dictionaries have come out, which covered the entire vowels, and 3 more volumes would be coming in which we try to finish the entire consonants. So totally in 6 volumes the entire work would be completed. Besides that, we started a very important project on mapping of Nalanda, Rajgir and around. This is a very important project based on the travelogue of Master Xuanzang. We are trying to map the entire Magadhan area and then would like to go along and cover the entire Bihar. We are using GIS mapping system for this, and we had been able to identify a lot of places which Venerable Xuanzang mentions in his travelogue. Navanalanda Mahavihar is basically a Buddhist university focused on the Buddha's teaching and Buddha's concept of education, which is based on Pariyatti, which is theory, Patipatti, the practice, and Pativedana, which is the experience. For this, a cultural village has been developed where the focal point is the Xuanzang Memorial, which is dedicated to this great Chinese monk scholar who had done a lot for the translation of the texts from Sanskrit to Chinese. It was based on the record of the Venerable Xuanzang that
deliver the keynote address. Pallavi.
Good morning. It's an honor, it's a great pleasure and honor to introduce Professor Dorji Wangchu. He is a professor for Tibetan Studies at the Department of Indian and Tibetan Studies, Asia Africa Institute, University of Hamburg. He has received his PhD also from the same institute. He also holds the monastic degree, holder of the well-expounded definitive esoteric vehicle. His areas of interest are Tibetan Buddhist philosophy, Tibetan intellectual history, and history of ideas, and Tibetan Buddhist intellectual, literary, and textual culture. He is the founding member and director of Khyentse Center for Tibetan Buddhist Textual Scholarship, Department of Indian and Tibetan Studies, Asia Africa Institute, University of Hamburg. He is also a visiting professor at the Faculty of Religious Studies, McGill University, Montreal. May I now request Professor Dorji Wangchu to give his keynote address. Thank you.
First of all, maybe I begin by addressing the venerables here, present here, and also the distinguished hosts and distinguished guests, just to make sure that I don't forget any name that I wanted to mention. So I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Professor Shankanarayan and the organizing committee for inviting me to the conference and for graciously giving me the honor to hold this speech here today. I'm sure all of you, ladies and gentlemen, will join me in thanking the Keja Somaiya Center, Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan, and Navanalanda Mahavira, and the organizing committee for hosting and organizing this conference and giving us the opportunity to further engage in the fascinating theme of cross-cultural transmission of Buddhist texts. Each of us engaged in the academic study of Buddhism may have his or her own motive or bundles of motives for doing so. In my case, my interest in Buddhist philosophy provoked me to study Buddhism as transmitted via Tibetan tradition, mainly via the ancient school of Tibetan Buddhism, for 10 long years in a Tibetan monastic seminary in Mysore, South India. At the verge of becoming a preceptor, a Khenpo, my knowledge of Buddhism appeared to me from the perspective of a Buddhist intellectual, not necessarily from the perspective of a Buddhist practitioner, somehow deficient or incomplete for two reasons. First, it seemed inadequate to view and assess Buddhism from within the tradition alone. If to allude to a Tibetan notion, to get a better view of the mountain over there, not over here, that is Tsuri, it may be